You know, of course, one of the main features of every All-American Council are plenary sessions. And our plenary sessions are when we come together to talk about, you know, it's easy to say, just church business. And we have a lot of things to cover. And this is an important part of the life of our church. And I have to say, not everybody loves to come to the All-American Councils to talk about business. But nevertheless, this is an important part of the life of our church because we are a local church, an autocephalous church. And we have to be able to settle our problems and solve our problems, address issues by ourselves. Of course, within the fullness of Orthodoxy, but we have to be able to do it ourselves. And the All-American Council, these plenary sessions, allow us to hear reports from His Beatitude, of course, from myself, from my colleagues, Father Alessandro Margaritino, the Secretary of the Orthodox Church in America, and also from Mr. Andrew Smith, the Treasurer of the Orthodox Church in America. We'll also hear reports, of course, from the different Stavropegial institutions, monasteries, seminaries, all of these sorts of things. And while they can be, you know, not as exciting perhaps as the liturgical services or some of the forum that we'll have in the afternoon or just the basic fellowship, as I say, they're very much a necessary part of our life, coming together, deliberating on, trying to consider what is best for the Orthodox Church in America to do. And the theme of this council, becoming vessels of grace. Becoming vessels of grace is not, of course, not only spiritual and hearing the words of the gospel and having those enliven us and being able to carry forward the grace that God gives us so that we can give it to the world. But we at this council also have to think, how can we aid our parishes, our monasteries, our institutions do their work to bring forward vessels of grace in monasteries, in our seminaries, in our parishes? How can we support our parishes? How can we support our parish priests? How can we support our monasteries and our seminaries? And when I say support, it's not only giving money and throwing material support, but literally, how can we support them in so many different ways? How can we aid them in their work? And this is one of the great things that we come together to the council to do. So we hear reports, we deliberate on them, and perhaps we make some resolve. We come to a common mind that can speak to the best ways that we can address the different problems, the different situations. How can we contribute to the great success of the Orthodox Church in America by bringing forth people who are filled, who are overflowing, who have an abundance of grace, that they can do nothing but share that inexhaustible source of grace with all those around them? This is exactly what we're trying to do. To do that, of course, we have to go through meetings, we have to go through reports, and we have to do that. But we shouldn't lose sight of the importance of doing this sort of business so that we can do these other wonderful things, you know, proclaiming God's name in all the world, in this country and the countries that we find ourselves.
We've been looking forward to gathering again in Council, this time after 4 years, since the 20th All-American Council had to be postponed because of the recent public health crisis. But we're here, by the grace of God, in great numbers and with a broad representation from all corners of the Orthodox Church in America, just as this council is intended to be. His Beatitude, Metropolitan Tikhon, officially opened this council on Monday night, but in many regards this council started a while back when the Preconciliar Commission was appointed and started its work. All the planning, the preparations, and the work of the local committee, the chancery staff, the seminarians volunteering, those who have packed the trucks and driven them, those who have worked and continue to work behind the scene, our communication department, the many faithful men and women around the church who have worked tirelessly to make this council happen. And to them, we owe a great deal of gratitude. And this collaborative work, in its many facets, is an integral part of a council. We gather together to pray, for fellowship, yes, but to work in unity, always with one goal in our minds and in our hearts, the glory of God and the building up of His church. In the work that precedes and that is accomplished at the council and thereafter, with so many people doing many different things according to their skills and duties, we see the words of St. Paul to the Corinthians come alive. For just as the body is one and has many members, and all the members of the body, though many, are one body, so it is with Christ.
This evening at the banquet, we have again limited the number of speakers. I will be the main speaker, and I hope to summarize and bring to a conclusion the debates and discussions that took place at the plenaries this week, and hopefully provide both a collection or a summarization of what we've discussed, but also perhaps point us forward as we leave the council and bring forth the work that we've accomplished this week into our parishes, into our deaneries, our dioceses, and our institutions, so that we may indeed complete and fulfill that apostolic work that our Lord calls us to.